Welcome, Better Five, to day 1 of our 7-day fitness Kickstarter. Congratulations. The hardest part is getting started. So let's go ahead, keep those weights nice and close, and get things going with a nice warm up. So first off, let's go ahead and tuck that chin and then look at our ceiling. Making sure if we're seated or standing, we've got great posture, shoulder blades are back and down. Chest is proud. Soft bend in our knees. Like we're nodding yes. We've got a nice tuck to our tailbone here. Eight seconds. All right, great job. Now let's continue our warm up by just tilting that head from side to side. Going as slowly or as quickly as we need here. Really feeling a gentle dynamic stretch here. Dropping those shoulders down like we're holding 2 lead suitcases. And back to center. Continuing this upper body warm up, let's look over that left shoulder. Bring ourselves back to center. Then over to the right and back to center. Last one. Back to center. Give it a little shake here. Now let's shrug those shoulders all the way up to our ears and drop them down. Bring them all the way up, keeping that chest proud, soft tuck to the chin, soft bend in those knees. Two, and 1. Drop those shoulders down. Give them a good shake. Let's do some wrist circles. We film in Canada, so I've got my big sweater on today. I'll roll up my sleeves. Bring those wrists up to our sides. And let's just draw some circles, as though we're stirring our coffee or stirring a cup of tea. Great job. Awesome. Bring those down. Give that upper body a shake. Let's move on to our lower body. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with some hip boxes. So taking our hips, we're going to point them at all 4 corners of an imaginary box around our feet here. So send them forward, then to the side, then backwards on the other side. Feeling that kind of gentle lengthening in the fronts and backs of our legs as we move across. Those muscles are called our quadriceps and our hamstrings. So quads go down the front of our legs, hamstrings go down the back of our thighs. And let's switch directions. Draw those boxes in the opposite direction. See how dramatic you can make these. If you're joining us seated, you're going to take your torso and draw that box, leaning forward, then back into your chair. Last one. Perfect. Next up, Let's take that right foot and we're going to plant that toe on the ground, and we can hold on to our chair for support if we need. And we are going to externally rotate that knee and then internally bring it back. Stretching out that hip a little bit. Keeping the posture nice and tall. If we're sitting, we'll just sit forward in our chair, do the same movement. All right, let's switch sides. Left foot comes up, soft bend in that right knee, and rotate that knee. Great job. Last one. Drop that foot down. Next up, we're going to do some toe points. So we can do this movement seated or using the back of our chair as a support. Let's start again on the right hand side, and we're just going to point and flex that right foot. All right, let's bring that foot back to center, switching sides. Remember, soft bend in that weight-bearing knee. And we're either seated in our chair or we're holding on to the back of our chairs for support here. Last one, drop it down. Give your whole body a shake and go ahead, grab that water. Meet me right back here for our cardiovascular sequence. All right, let's get started with our cardio sequence. We're going to start things nice and simple and warm up our bodies a little bit. And we're just going to walk in place with just our feet. So hands can be on our hips. And find the pace that works best for you here. Our goal is to slowly and gently ramp up. So just those legs. If we're seated, just sit forward in your chair and march in place with us as well. Making those movements as big as you feel comfortable. All right, and in 15 seconds, we're going to add in our arms, swinging our arms in opposition with those legs. All right, let's get those arms going. And we're going to walk in place here. Keeping those chests proud. Our rib cage stacked over our pelvis here. Finding that cadence that works for you. Just walking in place. One more minute here. Keeping that chest proud. Remember to breathe. All right, better 5 in 30 seconds. We're going to turn these walks into marches. So they're going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit more dramatic. All right, 15 seconds. All right, reset yourself a little bit. Now let's do a really big dramatic march for 1 minute. When the left arm comes up, the right leg comes up, and vice versa. If you are joining me seated, let's modify this by just marching in our chairs. You're doing great. 30 seconds. Fifteen seconds. All right, great job. Now let's take those arms out of it, and we're gonna cool things down by just marching with those legs. So 1 minute here, marching in place. And then we're gonna just kind of move it into a little walk in place. At whatever speed or cadence is comfortable for you. We don't want to push it too far. We've still got that strength sequence. So that comfortable rate of speed and a comfortable range of motion here. All right. Slow those legs down even further till we're just kind of step touching here. And what a great job in our cardio sequence. Go ahead, grab that water. Meet me right back here for our strength sequence. All right, now that we're nice and hydrated, let's get started with our strength sequence. First up, I want you to stand in front of your chair, and we're going to set ourselves up so that our feet are hip width apart. We've got our rib cage stacked over our pelvis, so we've got a nice neutral spine for our lower back here. Shoulder blades are back and down. And then let's go ahead, hands on the hips or out at your sides for balance, whatever you'd prefer. Sitting down into our chair, press through those heels and come back up. And repeat. Squeezing those bums at the top of the movement. And standing back up. Halfway there. Resisting gravity on the way down here. And last one. Bring it up. And I want you to meet me back down in your chair. We're going to do some calf raises next. So sitting forward in our chair, feet are still hip width apart. We're going to place our hands in our laps, rising up onto our tippy toes, pause at the top and come back down. Strengthening and stimulating those muscles of our calves, the gastrocnemius, the soleus. Rising up and pausing. These muscles help our feet flex and point, stepping up and over obstacles, changing directions, keeping us balanced, climbing up and down chairs, climbing up and down stairs, that is. Try and keep that posture as perfect as you can. Soft tuck to the chin, Shoulder blades back and down. And 2 more. Great job. Next up, let's stand back up for those of us joining me standing. And we're going to set ourselves up behind our chair for some kickbacks is what we call these. So let's square off our hips behind our chair. Keep that neutral spine, tuck that tailbone. Starting on the right leg, I want you to place the sole of your foot so that is pointing behind you and like we're kicking a box, sliding a box across the floor with our foot. Let's kick that leg back, squeezing at the top of the movement. Last one, let's switch sides. Onto that left leg, slide that foot across the floor. If you'd rather join me seated for this movement, I'll just have you do some clamshells. So knees are going to come apart and back together. Soft bend in that weight-bearing knee, holding on to that chair for balance support. If you feel like you're getting a little unsteady, just pause, place your foot down, and reset. All right, last one. Perfect. Give that lower body a little shake out. Great job. We're going to work on our upper bodies now. And all of these movements can be performed seated. So if you'd rather join me from your chair, feel free. We're going to grab onto those dumbbells. And we're standing or seated with our feet hip width apart, neutral spine. We're going to do some alternating bicep curls. So flipping your arms so that your palms are facing your screen. We're going to alternate bringing our knuckles up to our shoulders. Making sure it's shoulder is nice and stationary. It's knuckles to shoulder, not shoulder to knuckles. Really nice and controlled. Great job. Shoulder blades are back and down. And keep breathing. And last one. Great job. Next up, let's place those hands at our sides with those weights still in them. Shoulder blades are back and down, soft tuck to our chin. We're going to shrug those shoulders up. Last one. Great job. Let's go ahead. We're going to set one of our dumbbells down. And our final strength movement, we're going to work on some plate presses. So holding on to both ends of our dumbbell, roll those shoulders back, neutral spine, soft bend in our knees. We're going to press forward, squeezing with the muscles of our chest at the top of the movement. Strengthening those pectoralis muscles. Our triceps, muscles we use for pressing, pushing off of things. And last one. Setting that weight down. Trade that dumbbell in for your water bottle. Meet me right back here for our cool down. All right, and from today's cool down, we're going to take it seated today. So sitting forward on our chair, we're going to start just with a nice gentle neck stretch. So let's go left ear to left shoulder. And just let that head fall for 30 seconds here. Feeling that gentle lengthening of our trapezius muscles. If you clench your jaw, this stretch can feel really great. All right, let's bring it back to center, switching sides, right ear, right shoulder. Just letting the weight of our heads All right, back up to center. Great job. Now let's go ahead. We're going to gently twist over our left side, looking over our shoulder. Holding it here. Just breathe. And back to center. Let's switch sides. And back to center. Next up, better 5. I want you to take that right leg, stick it out in front of you. And let's decrease the angle between our torsos and our thighs. Lean forward. Holding it here, just breathe. All right, bring it back to center, switching sides. All right, bring it back to center. And last up, let's twist off of our chair towards the left so that our left thigh is contacting the chair and our right leg is hanging off. Let's take that right leg and then reach that right arm up and over, stretching out those hip flexors. And just breathe right here. All right, let's bring it back to center. Switching sides. Feeling a stretch in our lats, in our hip flexors, in our quadriceps. Bring yourselves back to center. Great job today, Better 5. This has been day 1 of our 7-day fitness Kickstarter. See you on day 2.